Okay, another step that you're going to do in chapter 3 is to create a sales receipt. So first I'm going to click the plus here, and in the create menu you can create invoices and sales receipts. Both of those two transactions are a transaction where you as a business are selling a good or service to a customer. Very important difference though. The sales receipt is used when you are collecting payment at the time the good is transferred or the service is rendered. An invoice is when you plan to bill that customer at a later date. So for example, you have accounts receivable from customers and you bill your customers and then they pay you at the end of the month. You use the invoice. Sales receipt is when you're collecting either cash, check, or credit card at the time of the sale. And for this example, we're going to use the sales receipt. Okay, so when the sales receipt loads, there's also, you're going to have customers, and again, I'm using the sample or the test drive data, so we've got lots of customers listed here. You can choose one of those customers, but sometimes, and this sample test drive account doesn't have this, but you just want a cash sales customer. Because, for example, you may own a t-shirt shop. I use this example a lot, but you custom print t-shirts, and so if you took an order from me at ECU for 100 t-shirts for some organization, you would want to record that those are going to be billed to East Central University, the contact person Stacy Bolin, and so forth. However, if I just walked into your t-shirt shop and you had some t-shirts on your showroom floor and I pick up one and it's a $15 t-shirt and I pay you cash, you may or may not care who buys that t-shirt. You need to record the transaction, but you don't necessarily want to take time just for a cash transaction to add all of the customer name and contact information. So having a cash sales customer can be beneficial. So we're going to do that. We're going to add cash sales as a customer and just save that as the quick add, similar to the way we did the check before. And we'll just go to, we'll use the October 2nd date. Actually you're going to use October 16th in your example in the book, so I'll go ahead and do that. And then in your payment method, you always want to add the appropriate payment method. I'm going to put cash, and that goes to undeposited funds, and then when you actually make that bank deposit, that money gets transferred from your account, undeposited funds, into your checking account. Now for product and service, you're going to have your typical products and services listed here so that when you begin typing one of those, like rocks, it's going to automatically pull up anything that begins with rock. Sometimes you want to have a cash sales item for your product and service too. And so we're going to go ahead and do the plus, and we're just going to add, that's going to be a non-inventory item, whereas so if we were selling t-shirts, we would keep track of the number of t-shirts. That would be an inventory item. But we're just going to put a non-inventory item, cash sales, and let's change this. You can record what income account those go to. And we're going to put that as sales of product income, and then save and close. So I've got that added. And we're just going to put the amount. We use the same amount as you're going to use in the book. And when you hit tab, notice that it goes ahead and it'll calculate the tax. And in that test drive account, it's set for California. You'll set that up in your company, so it would be $2,700. And in the book, it is non-taxable, so let's go to right here. We'll uncheck that so that it's non-taxable, and we've got a total of $2,500 there. So we'll hit save and close that sales receipt. Okay, so you can take a look at that transaction. Will be on our journal report. So I'm going to go to reports, and you can search for reports. So sometimes the quickest way to find a report is just to type it here in the search box. So journal, we'll click on that. And then I'm going to run that journal for just October, because that's where we've entered those last couple transactions. Just run that for the month of October, and you can see that we've got our journal entry, and then we've got our value insurance check, and then we've got our sales receipt for cash sales. Okay, so you've got a couple other transactions you're going to do in this chapter, and then as you go through, you're also going to work through running several reports. I won't go through each one of those. The book does a really good job taking you step by step through those, but keep going through those. You're not necessarily going to save or print any of those. You're going to get to page 89 and 90, and you're going to do exercise 1, and there's a transaction register with some checks you're going to write there. And then on exercise 3.2, you're going to run these reports. When you run the journal, trial balance, profit and loss, and balance sheet, you're going to run those 4 reports again at the end of the chapter. When you run those, be sure and check the figures on page 91. So sales at the end of this chapter should equal $6,000. So right now we only have sales of $2,500. So you're going to have sales of $6,000 by the time you get done. Make sure all of those match. If they don't, you need to go back and figure out where you might have messed up, because remember, you're going to continue with this same company throughout the next several chapters, so you want to make sure that you've got all of your transactions entered properly. If you have trouble, I'm happy to answer any of those questions. Also remember that you're not going to turn in exactly what the book tells you. Be sure to always refer to the Blackboard assignment. So you're actually going to create 4 tabs in Excel, and you're going to turn in the journal, trial balance, balance sheet, and profit and loss, which actually matches in exercise 3.2, but it doesn't always. A lot of times it asks you to run like 9 reports, which you should, to practice and to double check your figures, but you may not be submitting all of those to me. Okay, that's it for this one.